you need to be able to have a purpose for running the business.
Shampoo bar, and there's no difference between the shampoo bar and a shampoo in a bottle.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but there's no water in the shampoo bar.
Yeah, I strive for a better diet all the time, but sugar just you just can't get away from it, can you?
For example, I use a lot of sustainable like deodorants, shampoos and things like that, because I understood at a point, okay, I'm spending so much on artificial and on natural things.
I think most of the products that are sustainably produced, I would say they align to the concept of bringing good things to your body.
And I think as entrepreneurs, I think we should always, even if you're in the stage of forming a business or in between, you should sit down and map out what your 5 years are going to be. And maybe you can't invest on these mega investments. Shine 50 are 50 trailblazing women from various fields, from arts, culture, entrepreneurship, business, and even upcycle fashion. But who's supporting the Shine 50? It is Echelon, Neon Media, and of course USAID. This evening, we are having absolutely beautiful two women here, Bhagya and Rosie, and they have joined us here today to talk about a little bit more about sustainability and how that affects the bottom number. So before we go any further, Bhagya, do you want to just introduce yourselves to the audience?
Thank you, Safra. So basically, I founded an organization named Echelon Agro Solutions. So what we basically do is we work with smallholder farmers in Ratnapura district, where we basically support them with low-cost technology to help them grow their crops in a sustainable way, being close to nature by using certain low-cost technology like drip irrigation and modular greenhouses. So that's what we do. And apart from that, we also work with urban communities. We help them to grow their own food. And we help them by giving them an opportunity to get started with vertical planters, using low-cost technology again at household level.
Amazing. And Rose, would you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Thanks, Safra. So I am a volunteer for the Pearl Protectors and also the expedition lead for the Cleaner Seabeds for Sri Lanka project. So in Cleaner Seabeds for Sri Lanka, we are a group of divers. We dive down to like clean the ocean bed. So we remove plastics and ghost nets from the ocean bed and to make sure that our oceans are safe and it'll thrive for our future generations. And not only that, we're also doing a lot of conservation projects related to turtles, related to the ocean, creating marine protected areas and things like that. So that's about the Pearl Protectors.
Amazing. And I'm Safra Anwar. I am the licensee for TEDx Colombo, as well as the CEO of Anwar Associates. We work on building platforms for amazing people like these two to create change, revolutions, and of course, fuel their mad ideas. So with this conversation, I'd really like to go into how other people, possibly people who are listening in, can actually think of their business models and how they can actually consider sustainability and all of that in what we have. So I was wondering if since you are also an entrepreneur, Bhagya, how would you think we should prioritize long-term social environment, economic aspects in terms of sustainability?
Well, I think when it comes to running a business, it's not about just starting one and then operating it and making profits. It's important for you to also think about long-term goals because it just helps you to have a meaningful journey along the way. And it also allows you to leave some kind of a legacy behind when you take a look at it, right? It just gives you a lot of purpose as to why you're doing it. And you can also be a role model and people look up to you and they also see how they can bring value to the communities that you work with. And apart from that, I think you need to be able to also have a purpose for running the business. So it's not about just selling a product or a service, but it's more about you solving a problem that you think needs some kind of solution at ground level. So if you are community oriented and if you can provide a solution and help people to make a difference in their, if you can make a difference in their lives, I think it really matters. And I think an entrepreneur also should be very innovative, and apart from that, should be able to adapt and to the changes, especially to the changes, the market dynamics, for example. And you should also be able to maybe adapt the changes, and then see how you can bring those changes to the business product or service that you offer. I think these are some important things.
Yeah, I think my favorite word as an entrepreneur is probably pivot. I think in Sri Lanka, every day we learn that we need to pivot to whatever comes our way. We have no idea what every month could be. And I think you're absolutely right about it. So in terms of pivoting, I know that different entrepreneurs have to prioritize different things. Rose, I know that you've worked in a lot of other industries as well, apart from what you do. How do you think that entrepreneurs should prioritize and maybe pivot, considering what's looming ahead of them over the future?
I am currently employed in a tire manufacturing company, and we are currently facing a lot of regulatory requirements from the European deforestation regulations, and we are bound to manufacture our tires sustainably, and our customers are bound to purchase sustainable tires. This could be at a premium, but also like it's a huge thing that's happening in the industry. All the suppliers are facing this issue, and sustainably means not only about being environmentally friendly or using environmental friendly products. It's about what we use, the labor rights, whether we are using anything unethical in our production. So everything from like every point that connects until the product goes into the customer, it is actually something that goes into sustainability. So entrepreneurs who are starting their businesses it's easy if they start at a point where they focus, they make the core of the business sustainable, so that it's easy to, because the world is changing, everyone is making, like it's a big deal for a company to be sustainable, because that's what the other thing is, that's what the consumers want. Most of the tourists that comes to Sri Lanka most of them are vegetarians. Sometimes you meet a lot of vegetarian tourists, and they are also expecting a lot of sustainable products from, like, they would, when they make a booking, they would sometimes see the sustainable, like how, whether the toothbrush is disposable, like what they use, whether they use anything, any plastic material or things like that. So it's important for the entrepreneurs who are coming into the market. If they focus on these things, it's easy for their long-term success. So they can succeed in the market for a really long time.
That is true. I've seen a lot of hotels that are actually popping up now. Like, for example, Santani, their whole ethos is based on sustainability, wellness, eco-friendliness, and just like that. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, even other women who even do use blockchain to actually measure from the point of sourcing to the point of creating the product to where each of the materials are from. And anyone who buys it from anywhere can go through the blockchain to figure out where every single aspect of that product comes from. And that will only work because customers demand it. So I truly believe that that's probably going to be where we are going from. But of course, like through this, everyone thinks of business models. How does this all fit in? How is it important to solve? How do you solve all these things while also making a profit? And there's also these conversations about, circular economy, linear economies. Bhagya, how do you think that these models can be used to solve socioeconomic and environmental challenges like that? And how important is it?
I think it's important for us to align our businesses to these models that we discussed, with the ones that you introduced. For example, we go with the focus of healing our mind, body, and soul. So I think most of the products that are sustainably produced, I would say they align to the concept of bringing good things to your body, which heals your mind and your body and all your and also your physique. So I think it's important that we think about models that will allow us to feed our souls in a better way, right? And so I think, for example, when it comes to the organization that I work with, I think we see the importance of helping people to have better access to healthy, nutritious food, because we believe that if you can practice mindful eating and concentrate on having a better diet, you can actually heal yourself. And I think if every business that operates has a focus on these factors, I think it will help them to solve a lot of community issues that they see in the community.
Yeah, I strive for a better diet all the time, but sugar just you just can't get away from it, can you? How do you think, Rose, that anyone can actually look at maybe it's a sustainable business model, maybe it's something completely out of the ordinary altogether. How do you think that we can use these to solve these issues that we have in terms of sustainability?
So right now we are facing, like, as an island, we are facing a lot of like burdening issues because we are not sustainable.
Yeah.
Because our garbage is in the ocean, because we are not sustainable. We don't have proper consumer education. People don't know where they should throw the garbage. If they had to carry whatever they are like consuming on a daily basis, it would be a lot of wastage, a lot of plastic. But then if consumers are being educated to consume more sustainably, to like if there are options available for them to consume more sustainable products, they would go for it. So I think if businesses are looking to address challenges, you need to show the consumer this is a challenge that we are facing and give the solution. Because sometimes we don't know, like we see people just throwing things on the road, and it's not because they're not educated. They just don't see the bigger picture. They think someone will pick it up for you, but they don't see what a nation has to go through just because they randomly throw things on the road. So I think it's important when businesses addresses these challenges, it's for them to clearly like provide education to the consumers, because people like I would say like sustainability is not cheap. That's something everybody has to understand, like consumers and the producers. So it will always come with a price. It will always be expensive than mass scale production. It will always be expensive than like, buying things in bulk. So for businesses, you'll generate a premium out of selling a sustainable product, and also consumers will have to pay a price to protect the world, especially Sri Lanka. So that's the challenges have to be clearly set out in the world. Like they have to, like the entrepreneurs will have to set out a clear guideline how they are going to tackle, because their ultimate goal will be to attract the consumers to buy sustainable products. And why would they buy sustainable products? The answer should be given through education. Like before you just throw the product to the market, you have to convince the customers why you should buy the product, like why the contribution that they give. Like we as consumers should, at a point we feel guilty, okay, we are doing something wrong, so we need to switch. Like for an example, I use a lot of sustainable like deodorants, shampoos and things like that, because I understood at a point, okay, I'm spending so much on artificial and unnatural things, whereas I can spend a little bit more to buy something sustainable and something eco-friendly. And I feel like I am adding my part, like I'm doing my, like as a consumer, I'm doing my part to it's not a big thing, but I'm doing my part. So I think that's a way to tackle a challenge when it comes to
and I think there's a lot of budding entrepreneurs who are just starting out, right? Who are doing even shampoo bars to soap bars, which are locally made in their homes. You know where it's from, you know what's in it. You can obviously ask the owner because they would answer your questions, in comparison to going with a consumer brand where you don't know where any of those materials are from. And I truly understand that, and I completely agree, because even my products are usually always all natural or from small entrepreneurs, so you know that they're made for
Yes,
you.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to add something to that. I think it just allows you to practice a lot of mindfulness. And it's about also being part of a conscious community where you raise your standards as a human being, maybe, and you try to experience a greater form of living. And I trust that also allows you to achieve great fulfillment and spiritual enlightenment. And the other thing is it also improves credibility for the products and services because people will continue to trust you, and they will also try to stick to the brand, and they will be more loyal towards your product if you have these ethical practices. And if they also see that you live that kind of a lifestyle, I think that also makes them feel more connected to what you have to sell. So
That is true. And I think also with the circular economy, even though it's such a buzzword, I mean, you make profits at every stage of the circle, right? For example, from where you get your resources from, because it's PO, you have less wastage. You create your product, that's your selling point again. Then from there, once you have the waste from that, you actually use this waste to another process. So
Agreed.
sometimes
Yes.
it could be even just steam.
Yes.
That can be used for something else. I know that, for example, there's large industries in Sri Lanka where they burn waste. And when they burn waste, they use the steam to heat water to continue the process. So basically, the burning the waste actually helps them burn waste more efficiently in a way.
I also think it builds a beautiful community in the end, just like you mentioned, because so many people will come together to work towards a common objective, which is to achieve sustainability in the end. And it
sometimes
also,
they may not even know that they're doing it.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I think that's why I think the process looks very beautiful and organic at the same time.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people talk about profitability and how, everything, as Rose said, everything is expensive. Do you actually commit to things like solar and wind, or do you commit to smaller things? And I think as an entrepreneur, we have to decide what stage we are in our business and what we can do at this point and then grow. For example, we can't do what Hydramani does, where they, or any of these garment factories where they actually have solar paneled, absolutely green, water source, cleaning, ROI plants. I'm sure none of us three are in that realm of business, right?
Yeah.
But there might be other things. For example, we may source from people who have that technology and who are using it. And that's, I think, how you add on to that balance of profitability, right?
Yes.
Rose, do you want to add on anything? Because I can see you nodding.
No. As I mentioned earlier, it all comes with a cost. So we have to. It's a matter of convincing the customer why they should pay extra. It's not easy. Like our parents, how have they taught us? Buy the cheapest, whatever. Like if we go to the supermarket, we check so many prices and we'd buy something that is low priced, or because our economy is as such that people always want to get a good deal out of something. So, but when it comes to sustainability, that doesn't work. Like you can't make deals with the environment. You can't make deals with how the world works. So if we want to sustain it for the future, it's important. And so as I'll continue the example that I took, like in my current company, like we do have like sustainable tires because we have to give it to the market, and it is being sold at a premium because the sourcing cost is high, like sourcing sustainable products is high, and giving it back to the customer is also high. And there's a large customer base that actually pays that price to buy it. It's not something that's not doable. It is something doable. And it's just that Sri Lanka is still, I feel Sri Lanka is not still used to that. Like if we say we are gonna buy, like you were talking about circular economy, buying used clothes, sometimes the perception towards it is not that great. Okay, why should you wear something like that? It's just how it's been created. So I want to iterate over and over again that consumer education is a must. whatever, like entrepreneurs, where they have to start with education to make profits, to make a business, to do the long term success. Because if a consumer buys it because they want to try it, they might not come back again if they don't know the real value they're adding. So to make that long term success, it's important.
Yes, and I think I also like to add something to that. So for me, what really works is storytelling. We do that a lot. Because we work with farmers, and it's important for us to bring out their stories and their hardships. It might not really look very attractive to certain investors, but then again, I think we do it in a way where we also see them adding value to the farmers markets, or the people who buy the fresh produce from these farmers. But I think it works, but it's long term. But then again, when they really see how the process is done, I think you basically build trust. So it's all about building trust, and in the long term, you continue to work with the same person for many years, and they know that there's no way that certain products can be reduced in quality or quantity because of that trust that was built in the process. So storytelling, I think, is a very powerful way of getting across your message to others, and of course branding, and also helping your customers know the values that you have for your organization, and also making sure that you impart those values to your customers, I think will also help. So the customers who recognize these values and who will see some connection to them will definitely buy from you. So I think that's what we generally do with our work.
And I hope this conversation also reaches a lot of people who can actually learn from all the amazing things that you're doing as well. We hear this word CSR, right? It's been used, I mean, for eons. Every marketing team has a CSR budget, so to say. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think because we've been talking a lot about sustainability, do you think that it's a sustainable solution to what we have in the world?
I actually don't think people really know what CSR means. That's something from the Pearl Protectors, we get a lot of beach cleanups. But we always try to educate them that cleaning the beach is not the solution. Like, solution is not sending those garbage into the ocean, right? So we think, like, most of the companies, that's something that they do. It's not something that we discourage. We encourage them to do, because at least one plastic bag is out of the ocean, like, or out of our beaches. But it's not what sustainability is. It's not something that is long term, because next day, tomorrow morning, you come back to that beach and there will be another lot of garbage.
Yeah.
And what they need to understand is, it could be investing on things that, like, investing on a series of lectures where you educate a bunch of children on how to dispose, or how to upcycle, or how to, like, use more sustainable products. Or it could be a series of things that, like a educational things that you tell, okay, the shampoo bar, and there's no difference between the shampoo bar and a shampoo in a bottle.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but there's no water in the shampoo bar. So, like, people don't know that. So I think CSR is something that most of the companies just get away with it. And in my company, there's something really nice that they do, that there is a supplier, like, we go to the rubber suppliers and we work on, like, building a unity, like building a community between, like, the sourcing people, like the rubber, our main suppliers are the rubber farmers. So it's a circle that goes around. So we engage with them, we give them whatever the things that we reap, and then we educate them, we give them guidance on how to do things, and also we support them on, like, it will go back to a farmer. Like, for an example, a tire will start from a rubber tree and it will end up in a rice field, or, like, agricultural environment. So things like that. So most of the companies, like, think CSR is just a project that you do once a year, and they have a CSR budget where they'll go somewhere with the team and then spend it all on something really small, and then that's it. Next day you turn up to work and you're back to square one. And so if companies can, like, if CSR can be the core, like if there's no, like, if they can start their businesses through CSR, like
True.
without like using the word CSR, but they're doing something socially responsible, like their outcome of their business is socially responsible. So I think that's something that needs to change.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it becomes an everyday thing
Yeah.
rather than once a month I took the team out.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was just watching a video yesterday. There was this guy, he actually flew to Indonesia to clean a river, and he thought like, oh, I can do this in 2 weeks. It was supposed to be the most filthiest river. He did a lot of calculations. He realized he did all of the math, and then he thought, okay, 2 weeks, 5 people, I can get this done. He cleaned it once, the first day, the second day, the third day, and then the flood came back of all the garbage. And then he had just done this video where he's exasperated, where he's like, I cleaned this many tons of waste over the last 3 days and they're all back.
Yeah.
Because he only measured how he could clean the river, but he never thought about all those people who are still dumping back in there. And so he didn't really solve anything.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think,
halfway
yes,
he gave up.
true. I think, just like you said, it's not about just doing CSRs for the brand image that you want to uphold for your organization. It's also about aligning your work to the type of work that you really do with the organization. So most companies, they concentrate on beach cleanups because they consider it to be the most cost-effective way of doing a CSR project, because they feel that they have a moral obligation to do one. But that shouldn't be the case. I think you have to find ways to maybe diversify your work and look at the community and come up with more innovative solutions and try to build connections at ground level with the people that you work with, and maybe help them to build their lives. So, for example, what I'm trying to suggest is, if you're working with a farming community, maybe you try to plan out a CSR project that could build the lives of those farmers instead of you going ahead with some other project, because that will help you to also build more loyalty, because they will be your stakeholders in your business. And I think that will basically provide a better image of the work culture you have and also the business you're in. And it will, end of the day, also improve their lives. So I think that's something that I can suggest.
Yeah, I saw an interesting project. It was a supermarket. They actually had, I think they were working with all the bottle companies, and they had got everyone to, donate all the bottles that they were getting, and then they used that to basically squash it, and then used it to build car parks in schools and all of that. And then they actually have boards up there saying, if we had trashed this, it wouldn't have built this size of a car park, or this size of a basketball court, or things like that. And I think, like, there again, you're basically incentivizing people to do things, rather
true.
than just because then they actually actively go home, find the plastic bottles, they bring them back, put it in the cage, and then actually donate it as well. So I would love to keep talking, but I think that we've probably reached about time. But is there anything that you want to say just before we close up for everyone who's listening?
Well, I think it's important for us to start working towards building an entrepreneurial community and around the values that we all discussed today. So it's important that we try to sustain a business model despite the challenges that we may face on the ground level. And it has to be something that is profitable, and at the same time that gives a lot of meaning, and which allows you to also not compromise on the ability of the future generations to have the resources that you are using for yourself, for your business. So I think it's important for us to have those values and integrate them into the business model, especially when you're working within an organization.
Yeah,
Rose?
yeah, I agree with her, and I think it's important that we, for the future, in the next 5 years, most of the businesses we see will be sustainable. And like right now, most of the entrepreneurs are working on sustainability, but it would be nice to go to a restaurant and not find a plastic straw. It would be nice to go to a hotel and not find a lot of disposable like plastic materials. And also it would be nice to go to an office space and an office space that promotes sustainability, that office space that keeps saying, okay, bring your own water bottle, or bring, like, it's little things, but these are things that we can feed into people. And I think
and if you do that, you basically build a conscious community in the end. So we support each other, and I think we can be a part of a thriving economy.
Yeah, and I think as entrepreneurs, I think we should always, even if you're in the stage of forming a business or in between, you should sit down and map out what your 5 years are going to be. And maybe you can't invest on these mega investments at this point, but you can always make small investments into sustainability. Maybe it's the packaging, maybe it's just where you source from, maybe it's that you actively go and speak to communities and see what they can offer you. And then as you continue over the 5 years, have that progression of what kind of actions you're going to make. Because I think my mentor always said, do the small things, because sometimes as you continue to do the small things become big things, even if it's a product or a business that you're looking at, or if it's sustainability. And I think together with that, I think we can at least make a small dent.
I would just like to add one more point to that, because I think this is very important. And last but not least, I think networking really counts. You have to, you shouldn't feel shy to reach out to people, because you may be surprised to see the kind of help that you can easily attract. Because when you do good work, good people connect with you. So I think it just builds a community. It's about being part of one and then supporting each other. And there'll be so many people who would like to support you and help you achieve your dream while you do the same with the others.
Yeah, and I think Echelon and Neon Media, as well as USAID, have done an incredible job by bringing us 50 together as Shine 50 to actually create a dent. And also, I think for me personally, at least, it has been quite a networking journey where you have 50 amazing trailblazing women in various fields who you can reach out to at any time. And if you want to know more about the Shine 50, just go to their website at Echelon or Neon Media, and find out about it in any language of your choice, and make sure you go reach out to them, because they might actually help you in whatever business form that you have. So with that, we bring the Shine 50 discussion to an end, and I hope that you have an incredible evening ahead.